name is Lucy. I'm the co-founder of More Than Musical. As the co-founder, I basically take care of everything of More Than Musical, such as producing the opera and fundraising, marketing, PR, sponsorship, everything. I have a personal story. When I myself went to opera in different places in the world, I always felt like I was kind of the youngest and like the only Asian girl there. It's a bit hard to find my friends to go with me, and I was thinking, opera shouldn't be an art form only for the elderly or for the elites. It should be an art form for people like me around my age. It is so beautiful, so I want to make it much more accessible to people around me. What do we mean by making opera accessible and approachable is by having a few adaptations in our opera productions. First, it has to be shorter. It is 90 minutes, which is the same as a commercial movie length. Secondly, we'll put it in a very small and intimate venue like this one, so there's no distance between the singer and the audience. Because we believe if you can see the facial expression and feel the vocal cord vibration of the singers right in front of you, you will be amazed by the power of human voice. And also, our characters, they are modern people in more modern clothing and in modern technology. And lastly, we even put a bar into the set. So during the performance, the bar is part of the performance. But after the show, the singers and the audience, they will mingle around the bar. So we are creating an environment that there is no barrier between the singer and the audience. That's how we make opera much more accessible and approachable to the modern people. When the singers and the audience, they mingle together, what do? They take selfie, they put it on social media. So in the whole experience, it is a very modern experience. So the differences of seeing our Tosca and a traditional Tosca in a traditional opera house, it's very different. Of course, the first thing you see that when you step into this venue, it's already very, very compact. So basically, if you are sitting there, you see the singers, they are right in front of your feet. And you can even see their sweat coming down from their face. When you're in a big theater, of course there is big setting, very big costume. There are 50, 60 kids singing in the children's choir. There is another 50, 60 people singing in the adult choir that we don't have in this intimate setting. But the intensity is actually much more severe because this is so close and it's only with the main characters, drama and interaction. And I must also say that it's very different because in a real opera house setting, you will have no chance to get in touch with the singers before and after the performance. In our setting, after all this drama and death and rape, you can see them alive again, drinking with you after the performance. I think that's very remarkable. If you want to experience something you have never seen before in terms of opera and theater experience, come to our next opera production. If you want to experience an opera or theater production that you have never seen before, come join us. As the co-founder of More Than Musical, I take care of every single thing in this company. For instance, from choosing what opera to produce and PR, marketing, fundraising, sponsorship, everything.
Rumiko Hasegawa, I'm a founder of a modern musical. Presenting opera in evolving, living art to people in the current time. So you see opera performance actually acting the character just in front of you. You see the drama like you are inside of the scene. You will witness the drama just like you are right there. That's the concept of our opera. Hong Kong is a very unique place. It's international and cosmopolitan, very unique in Asia. And the people are very thirsty and hungry for something more than just ordinary art form. They're very active in social life. They want to have something more. So what we are doing is filling the gap between what people want and what Hong Kong currently So we are offering a new art form which is intimate, personal, and new. That's what we see as an opportunity in Hong Kong. Hong Kong can be a destination for this kind of new art form in Asia. And modern musical will play a very key role in this trend. We really pay attention to the quality. We believe we have no second chance. If we don't impress people with the quality of the art form, we lose this audience. Quality matters a lot to us. So even though we do in a black box theater, we bring professional lighting and projection images. This is top-notch quality for Hong Kong and internationally. We are very proud. We have very, very creative team to make this happen. We are very proud to say that we bring very high quality performers. The singer you see today, they are top-notch singers. They perform Europe, New York, other part of Asia, very high quality singers. And also, our opera director, Nick Muni, he is one of the probably most creative one internationally. I am very proud to put together this creative team. What we do here is very unique internationally. I have seen many opera all over the world. And what we do here with this top quality singers, with a top-notch creative team for 90 minutes, this is very unique. And I think we are creating a new trend for the world. This is a new trend of opera. And we are very proud. We started in Hong Kong. We can go anywhere in the world. People are coming from Australia, Singapore, Japan, Korea, China, for instance, and America, of course. And after they see it, the feedback is they have never seen anything like this. And they all tell me, how can we bring that to their own country? This is very, very refreshing for ordinary opera goer as well. It's new, it's creative, it's a new trend, it's a new style. We are extremely proud to be able to do this here in Hong Kong and then take it to the world. Opera can change your life. Come and check it out.
Yeah, I think for the most part, of course, opera is performed in very big theaters, 2,000, 3,000, sometimes more than that. And so converting it into a black box environment where you have about 170 seats is a huge change. But it's one that more than musical, it's their main mission, is to bring opera in, to the people in a very intimate way so that everybody feels like they're inside the performance rather than observing it. So what that means for me as a director and a designer is the scenic design and the lighting design, everything needs to be super simplified because everybody's so close and they can get all the details. As a stage director, the challenge is the audience is seated on 3 sides. So you have to construct the action so that each side of the audience gets enough of the presence of the singers so that they feel satisfied. Because sometimes they'll be singing to one side of the audience and people on the other side are seeing their backs. So you can't let that go on for too long. So it requires a little more action and movement so that all the audience is satisfied with what they're seeing. But the payoff is that even when you're on the other side looking at the backs of singers, they're still so close that you actually can still hear them and get the story. So I think those are the main challenges. It's sort of organizing the action so that all 3 sides of the audience get enough of it. Well, in creating the adaptation, our goal is to construct an evening that is more in tune with, more in line with the length of a cinema, length of a film. This opera, Tosca, the original length is about 2 hours and 2 hours of music. So with 2 intermissions, that would be about 2 hours and 45 minutes for the whole evening. Our version is reduced to 75 minutes of music without any intermission. so you don't lose any of the momentum, and you have a very compact, very intense evening. So how do we do that? How do we go from 2 hours of music to 75 minutes of music? What we first do is look for this, what I call the spine, which is all of the essential actions that you have to have just to tell the basic story. That's the first stop. Once you construct the spine and it's nice and strong and clean, then you start to fill it out a little bit with some character development work or some exposition work that will help the audience get a background. You skip over lots of sections, so you have to create transitions that make sense musically, harmonically, rhythmically, and so you have to take a careful look at all those transitions. In terms of what is cut besides music, we're cutting the chorus, and there's a chorus in Tosca. We're doing it not with a full orchestra, obviously, but with piano, cello, and percussion. So it's a small chamber ensemble. And we've cut a number of the characters. There are the three main characters, Tosca, Cavaradossi, and Baron Scarpia. And then there are about 5 other secondary characters. Angelotti, the sacristan, Sciarrone, Spoletta, and the jailer. And all these characters we combined into one singer, and we created a new character called the monk. And the monk sings all the parts of these other characters. And that gives it, gets us down to 4 characters, so it keeps it very compact. And the monk is, I think, quite an interesting sort of creation, because the 5 characters that normally sing, their function in the piece really is to push along the plot and to push the main characters to their crisis. And so this monk actually does that. And you'll see, if you see the production, or if you have seen the production, you'll see what happens in the end. It's a little bit of a surprise ending, but it involves the monk. So that's how we did the adaptation. In terms of the main 3 characters, I want to talk a little bit about our fabulous performers. Kara Chia-Ling Ho. Karen Chia-Ling Ho is our Tosca. It's her first time doing the role, and she is absolutely magnificent. It's very, very difficult. All 3 roles are very difficult to sing because they're very intense. You don't have to have a large voice in this situation because there's no orchestra or very little chamber orchestra, but you still have to have a very strong voice because there's a lot of intensity and violence in the piece. And Karen has the perfect voice for Tosca because she combines the power of the voice with a lyricism and a sweet quality. The same thing is true of Cavaradossi. You need a tenor who can sing lyrically and sweetly, but who also can turn on the gas at certain times. Baron Scarpia, and I want to say our Cavaradossi is Junsu Yeon, who is from Korea, also very, very good. All of our singers are terrific. So we have 2 ideal Tosca and Cavaradossi as the lovers, and then the bad guy, Baron Scarpia, is Carlo Kang, also from Korea. And with Scarpia, you need a really powerful voice that can sound very threatening. But in this situation, we've also given him the task of showing a more human side of the character, so that it's not just a villain. He's in love with Tosca. It's a different kind of love from Cavaradossi. It's like more of an obsession. But it gives you the sense that he has feelings too. And I think that has helped to round out his character in this version. And they're all fantastic singers. Oh, I want to say about the monk. Oh, the monk who we combined is Stefan Gordon. And Stefan is an American singer who now lives in Hong Kong and has done a fantastic job taking on these 5 different characters and combining them into one character called the monk. So for the audience, I think the main thing for the audience that we wanted to bring to the audience is to take a grand opera that normally is about spectacle and enormous scale and present it to them in a very intimate space, so that not only the theater is intimate, but they get into the intimacy of the story. And I think that was our main goal, and I think it's very unusual. I mean, I just don't know of another situation where you could hear and experience this kind of music, which is very large scale and very intense, with singers who really can sing the roles so up close and personal. I think it's a unique experience, and that was the main thing we wanted to bring, and I think the audience really have responded to that intimacy.
Hi, my name is Wei Shu, and I'm the musical director for the modern musicals, this production of the Kiss of Tosca. People often have questions about opera and musical, but opera actually dated back in 16th century, so that's a very long time in the musical history. But musical probably only started in the 20th century, so it's quite recent. And the significant difference between the two genre, the musical genre, is I would say opera is based on music, so using music as a tool to tell the story. But in musical, actually, it's a play based, it's a story based, but it's a play with a lot of dance and music. So, usually they heavily involved with a lot of dancing from the actors and singing as well. And also the other difference is in opera, usually it's almost sung through. The music starts from the very beginning to the end. But in musicals, sometimes we get dialogues, either in any language. So we get dialogues in between, so we get segments of music here and there. Nowadays, we don't often go to the theater of a 4,000 seat to see an opera, so you get to see all the actors like this big. But with the technology is different, so we can actually see a lot of HD visions productions, and you can see very clearly. So in today's black box theater, we actually bring the opera like really close to the audience. So almost like you can actually see every details, the hand gestures and facial expression from all the actors on stage. So it actually creates on a very difficult part for the singers because they have to work extra hard for them. But also for the audience, it's actually a very new and straightforward and very different experience. Nowadays, there are many different ways of seeing a show, especially for the opera. So we don't always have to go to the theater, 4,000 seats to see an opera, to see the actors like this big. But by bringing the singers so up close in this intimate space, it's almost like watching an HD video. So for the actors, you have to work extra hard to be so believable, and everything you can see from their facial expressions, and then from also from all the environment. I think we're going to give the audience a brand new way of looking at the opera. On the music itself, well, for this production, we actually are doing not so much different, but especially, but one thing with the limitation of the space is so small. So we can't really bring a 50-piece orchestra into the theater. So that's why we're cutting down to a piano, a synthesizer, a percussionist, and a cello. But by using all these different 4 instruments, we're hoping to create a different way, a different feeling of the musical accompaniments. The difficult part is because in the original work, the music, the composer actually write different parts, different instrument, different voice, to indicate different mood. But now we have to keep everything down to these 4 instruments. So for us musicians, we have to be extra sensitive, and we also need to have a lot of imaginations. But if you don't listen for the original things, I think these 4 instruments it's still going to present a very well balanced musically for this production. For the size so small, everything is so close to each other, and there's no stage per se. There's no stage in the pit. Everyone is all in the same environment and in the same location. So I think the communications, I think for me as a musician, it's actually very interesting because sometimes I can actually see the actors' eyesights, and we can actually see each other, and that's something you don't really get to do very often in a grand opera production because it's so big. And now I only have to focus on the music and my other 2 colleagues in the musician, and I can pay more attention on what's going on stage. So almost feel like the musicians are also part of the show. And for us musicians, it's also a very interesting project, and I think the production for all of us are actually all very experimental and also very quite exciting as well. If you miss our sold-out performance of more than musical productions, come join us for the next one. Stay tuned. See you there.
My name is Jung Soo-yoon. I'm South Korean tenor who is singing in Europe and UK, mainly in UK. I'm going to sing Cabalado C4 More Than Musical this year. Actually, normally I sing in the theater in Europe, which is between 1,000 to 2,000 seats. So it's quite big. And stage is over 20-30 meters. So this is completely different. But I have experience where I sang opera verite in France with same size of production with a stage. And this is hugely different because, as I say for next question, this is very, very close to the audience. So audience can see all the inspiration, all the diction, emotional reputation which we do on the stage. So they are compared with big theater. They can see, they can observe all the details. So this is very, very different. Actually, as a concert singer, I am. When I sing in the concert in the small venue, this is much more joy we have compared with the big opera stage, because audience, they can see like very close, like 3 or 5 meters here. They can see all the details, so they really understand much more about this opera and drama compared with in the big theater. Because in the big theater, they can have a joy of orchestra sound with big vocal sound, but in this kind of case, they can really see what's going on, what is drama going on between the characters, So for the audience, it's much more joy. Come and watch MTM. Amazing experience, very much new enjoy of opera in Hong Kong.
Hi, my name is Karen Chaling Ho. I'm originally from Taiwan. Now I'm based in New York. I'm a soprano and I'm the Tosca of More Than Musical this year. This is my first time doing this role. The director, Nick Muni, he brought me new ideas about this role because usually I feel this role is a little bit cheesy, like she's crazy and she's in love, but actually there are more about Tosca. Like she has so much deep pain inside of her, but she cannot tell everybody. So I think in this production, we put more depth for Tosca, this role. And I really wish you could come and see our Tosca in this box theater. Actually, no, it's my first time seeing in this intimate space. I feel it's very interesting because usually I don't like to see people's face. But actually, sometimes it's quite fun because you can get the reaction from the audience. And sometimes it's always, I think it's always quite support those audience quite into the drama, and you can feel it. And I think it's a really good way for a performer to perform in this small space. I'm very thankful and very grateful that I have this opportunity to work with these two really experienced and professional singers. They're really famous in Europe and also in Asia. So I'm very, very proud of this production, and I learned so much from them, not only from singing and also on their acting. It's very complicated because this role is really like in pain, but actually in person I'm not like sorrow all the time. I'm always happy, so I have really complicated emotion for this show. And but after the show, I'm pretty happy with it. I think we put on a quite good show, and we all in the character. So I hope the audience also enjoy it a lot.
My name is Stephen Gordon, and I'm singing the monk in this production. My character does not exist in Tosca. I am a collection of several characters. In fact, when I've told my friends what role am I playing, I usually say Angelotti because that's the easiest. For other people who know this opera, don't understand. In reality, my role is a creation specifically for this opera, and it's what makes this opera probably the most different from any production of Tosca. I play every role except for Scarpia and Tosca and Cavaradossi. Because I performed in black box theaters before, but it is very different than performing in a big theater. You can play more with different sounds, with different things in your voice. When you're singing opera in a major theater with orchestra, things like that, you really need to think about your projection overall. If no one can hear you, it doesn't matter what you sound like. In a black box space, I can play more with sounds, with ideas, with characters, while still maintaining opera. It's fun, especially with a role like this. Partly because I'm limited for a good portion of it, but my makeup is different than than I've ever had for a show for sure. And so it's kind of fun in a show like this where I'm walking around the theater and my face is mostly obscured to think about people getting brief glimpses as we go by. This opera is the perfect place to spend Halloween.
I came last year, so I really enjoyed that and want to see it again this year. I've never seen an opera with so much done so quickly, but also saying that not only amazing singers and brilliant actors, but it's really good to be so close to them, to actually sort of see the performances, like the real, it feels really interesting. So yeah, I thought the singers were even better this year than last year. I really enjoyed it last year, and yeah, I think that's probably one thing. Just all of the singers' performances were really good. I felt like they were able to cut a lot out to make it sort of quicker and easier to access, but still tell the whole story really well. So yeah, it worked really well.
Are you a musical fan?
I am a little bit, but not a massive opera buff. You know, last year was the last opera I saw, and I've seen a few sort of whole operas before, but no, it's not something I see regularly. But I really enjoyed it.
I thought the orchestra was so good. Who thought that Wei Enshu could make one piano, one cellist, and one percussion sound like the entire orchestra? Not in my life have I ever thought that could happen. Wei Enshu is a genius.
覺得好難得可以咁濃縮版可以帶得出 opera 嘅感覺，同埋成個 storyline 都可以講到。覺得好近距離咯，感覺好深刻咯，比較 intense 啲。佢濃縮版就個 storyline 都好帶得出咯。
我覺得個內容好豐富，即係會滿足到唔同觀眾嗰個觀感嘅需求咯。咁所以整體嚟講，我覺得非常之好。會支持同埋會介紹朋友嚟睇。
This is the first time I've been to an opera, and it was a really sudden last-minute plan, and I'm glad that I took it because I loved what I saw, and I'm now motivated or inspired to see more operas in the future. But what I experienced, I loved it so much that I'm ready to go for another one. So I also think if it's about, say, if this was much longer than what it was already, I'd probably yawn a little bit. But this one kept me very engaged because it was very intense. The act was brilliant. It was a little difficult for me to understand because it was difficult for me to look at the act and simultaneously look at the screen to understand what's going on. But that was that. Other than that, I loved everything. So I think I will choose the performance. The music was brilliant as well, but since I've never seen this kind of performance anywhere, and to watch it live and to watch these artists perform the way they did, it blew my mind.
Well, I think it's always very nice to be able to meet the performance and to hear about their experience of it. It's also nice to, well, we're still having drinks and we talked about the opera a little bit, yeah. So it was a very good experience. Well, it is much more condensed and fast-paced, and I think because the storyline is a bit simplified, it was easier to follow in some ways. And actually what surprised me the most was the relevance of the topic, because we have a lot of discussion about politics and also the Me Too movement, and actually Tosca reflects a lot of that theme in what we have, I guess, issues with now in modern culture was reflected 200 years ago. So.
I came here because I love opera, and I travel the world for opera. I actually was in New York for 10 years, and so went to the Met Opera every opportunity I can get. So it's amazing that there's great opera here in Hong Kong, and I take every opportunity to see opera in Hong Kong. Seen Tosca before, but in big productions at at the Met Opera, at the Royal Opera House in London, but this was definitely more intimate. And I love the different changes that they made to the production, just to highlight certain things, and I thought the singing was amazing, so I really enjoyed it. So I've been in Hong Kong now for 12 years, and I have to say, I generally love Hong Kong, but maybe the one thing that I think could improve on is the fact that we don't have a good performing arts scene here. I think there's certain times when we do, but so I think this is just a great addition to the Hong Kong arts scene, and I hope it continues, and I hope it continues to grow. It's been a great experience. I've met the co-founders of More Than Musical. I've met the cast, and that's something that you don't get if you go to a traditional opera. And what I definitely felt from the people that have been organizing this, that have been involved in this, is the love that they have for opera, which is the love that I have for opera. And so that really comes through, and to be able to share that with other people in Hong Kong, I think that's just terrific. If you love opera, you should come here.